Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And actually, it was quite a challenge to pick a subject for today, because I could entertain you whole day about my travel stories. But out of my life backpack, I decided to take a subject, passion, and talk about the importance of passion. And I'm sure all of you are here and you have many passions in your life, right? Some are saying yes, some are And I would like to propose you one idea. When you come home today, or maybe tomorrow, take a list of paper and write down all passions you have now and the passions you had in your childhood. It might be a little bit silly at the moment, but believe me, in some point in your life, maybe you will be 30, 40, 50 years old, which looks for you like ages away, but it will come pretty quick. And in the point when you will feel like you are a little bit lost in your life, take out that page and it will be a really good roadmap. Just try. Maybe it will stay somewhere in your shelf, but give it a try. But okay, about my passion, how it generally started. I was living quite a, let's say, ordinary life. My profession is communication, marketing, PR. And I was working in different companies and agencies for more than 15 years. And at that point, I was marketing and PR manager of retail company Rimi. The job was really great. But at some point, you start to think about your life. And scrolling social networks, you can find different things which are not really important, but sometimes there is something interesting. And it was about 12 years ago when I came across to one story which comes from Australia. This picture is from Latvia, from hospital where volunteers are going once per week to give some treats to elderly people. But that research was from Australia, and one lady who took care of people who are in hospice care, meaning those people are going to pass really soon, in a few weeks or maybe months. And she asked those people, what are your regrets in your life? Meaning, knowing that you can't do it about it anymore, nothing. What you regret in your life? What would you do differently? And out of those answers, she made a top. And when I read those answers, the answer number one really got me. So people said, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And I thought, okay, since I remember myself, I always wanted to travel. And I understood no matter how beautiful my work is, I will never see volcanoes, jungles, or deserts if I will stay in my office. So, it took me a year to pay my some debts I had in real estate, and I made some savings, and then I went off to travel. I just packed my backpack and off I went. And many beautiful things happened. I just want to share with you one story, which was during my road trip in Alaska. So I took this trip with my friend from Canada. Actually, today is his birthday. So we went for almost 5 months trip all across Canada and back through United States. Well, we were traveling with a car and we were quite on a budget. So very often we slept in a tent, which is quite nice. But sometimes when the weather was very cold and the wind was strong, we were trying to get under the roof. And that night we were really hoping to sleep in a warm bed. But the only hotel we could find, the cheapest one, was $200. Way too much. And this campground was $6 for both of us. So the choice is quite clear. So the wind was so strong, so we had to put big stones on a tent so it wouldn't fly away. But yeah, we still decided to stay there. I remember how we cooked our meal, and the only place we could hide from the wind was back in our car, and we were having the meal inside the car. It was the only place in the whole surroundings where the wind was not blowing. So after meal, we went to wash our dishes very quickly, and when that was done, we went back to the car. And we were sitting in that car, looking how everything is getting dark, and thinking what to do. My friend finally went to the tent. He said, I will try to get some sleep, but I was so cold, I said, no, I'm gonna stay in the car. I was knitting at that time with my headlamp, and at some point I thought, okay, I'm up pretty late, so maybe I should wait a little bit more. And around 11 o'clock at the evening, the wind suddenly stopped. And a little bit afterwards, I looked at the sky and I saw some lights starting to appear. I was like, oh, okay, it's coming. But I continued knitting, and then a few minutes later, I looked in the sky again, and like the sky was really dark and really bright lights were starting to appear. And some moments later, all sky was covered in green, in white, and in purple lights. I ran to the tent and I woke up my friend. I said, hey, you should come out. And he came out of the tent, and everything he could say, he looked up like, wow. And we had such a light show for more than 2 hours. The greatest light show I have seen in my life. So, and why did we see it? Because we had no money. So sometimes having no money is a pretty good thing. Well, this was one short story of my travels, and so far I have been a little bit more than 80 countries. And but still, money is important, right? We can't travel without money. Actually, we can, but it takes some challenges. So I would like to talk about money as well today. This guy changed my, perspective about how to think about money. I saw him in a park of Vienna, Austria. I was passing by and he was holding a sign, I want to become a millionaire. And I passed by like, yeah, me too. And he said, yeah, good luck for you. I stopped and I thought, well, I know nothing about the guy, and I'm kind of judging him in my mind. So I went back, I said, okay, I want to hear your story. And it turns out the guy is an artist. He studies art, and he does his artworks. And once in a while, he comes to the park, and he is fundraising money for his art project. And he is not selling, giving away white pieces of paper, like a postcard. On this postcard, there's a stamp with his project name, and when someone gives him €1, he handwrites a number of donation, which the sequence. So I gave him €1, and that euro was 6,835. So in this manner, he has made almost 7,000 euros, which is not too bad, right? So he gave me idea that there's many ways how to get money. So back to my travels, another passion of mine is writing. I really do like writing, and that picture you can see right now, you can find me in many places just with my laptop writing my stories. So the stories are placed in my blog called Mugursoma in Latvian, or Backpack in English. And I was, for first 3 years, I was keeping my blog without asking anything. And I received quite many people's responses that, oh, you have such a great stories, I'm traveling with you, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, if you like how I'm doing, maybe you would like to support me. So I put somewhere in my blog a sentence saying, if you want to continue me writing, you could support me buying coffee or something. What happened? Nothing. Maybe, I don't know, I had few coffees and that's it. And then I thought maybe I'm asking wrongly. I came back to Latvia at some point and I was about to go to a really long trip. And the idea came in my mind to ask this money differently. So you can see 20 euros here. 20 euros at that time was my daily budget for everything. And idea was, I was proposing my readers to become a sponsor of my blog by paying 20 euros. And you all know what sponsors do. You here have sponsors, right? And I said, if you are a sponsor of my day, you can also give me a task. What should I do that day? Anything. Meaning if the task is too crazy, of course, I can reject the money. But so far, it hasn't been too bad. And that really worked. I received many sponsorships. For example, for a student organization which has celebrating 90 years anniversary, they said, your task is to eat a cake. I can do that. Or girl Laura had, I don't remember, birthday or name day. She said, you should have a drink. Why not? Yeah, another girl had her birthday, so I made a poster saying, happy birthday to you. Another girl told me to visit some musical events. So in Myanmar, I had the opportunity to go to really cool punk event. And that guy actually is a quite famous actor in a movie, which I found out afterwards. I have a really nice friend of mine who likes challenging me. And last year in March, I was in South Korea, and she sent me a task that I should kiss exotic animal alive. So only thing I could think of was a turtle. So he survived, I survived, so all ended up well. Then there was a task, one guy told me to take a picture in an airplane pilot seat. And first I thought it's not possible. But then you never know if you don't ask. So after a flight to India, I went to the stewardess and I said, I lied a little bit because this story is too long to tell. I told my niece is having a birthday. He dreams to become a pilot. Can I say happy birthday to him in a pilot seat? And she said, yeah, sure, go on. So this is a pilot seat. And then another girl told me I should dance tango in Buenos Aires. I know how to do many things in my life, but I hate dancing, truly. I don't know how to do it. But because of this task, I took a private lesson, and after 90 minutes, I understood that I could survive even that. And about those tasks, I can tell you, it started with the idea about money, but it ended up to be actually much more interesting traveling, because those tasks are challenging my boundaries. Like if I didn't have this task, I would never do any dancing lessons. But because of the task, I did, and I'm really happy I tried. We don't have enough time to share the full story about penguins, but if you are interested, there's a book about that, and I fundraised also money to go to Antarctica, which is my experience in life #1. Such an amazing place. Well, and when I came back to Latvia, I always thought that our country is really beautiful, but after traveling, I'm starting to enjoy Latvia even more because I value more our wild nature, people, that we know each other. We have many, many pluses here. So, and when I was writing those travel stories in my blog, I never had ideas that one day those stories will become books. So far I have published 4 books about my travels, and still in blogs there is more than 1,400 stories. So if you can't find a place to, if you can't sleep at night, so there are lots of fairy tales. Yeah, and that's how the passion traveling and writing has ended up being kind of job. I don't consider me like full-time writer, but it is part of my life now. As well, I couldn't imagine that part of my life will be going around Latvia and talking with different people. This is a library of Liepa village, and last year I was visiting more than 25 libraries. And not only libraries, in those places I talk to people, I give out signatures and stuff, and also business audience is having different events where I give inspirational speeches. So if someone would told me 5 years ago that I would make money just with talking, I wouldn't believe. But this is how it's turning out now. Another example is about story of couch surfing. Do you know what it is? I see some heads waving. So basically, if you have a spare couch at your home, you can invite travelers sleep there for free. And in my travels, I've been couch surfing a lot. And again, I want to share with you just one story. So this is in Argentina, and we were couch surfing some girls at one guy's place. And out of that company, I had really, really nice people becoming my friends. Like 2 girls, we were having some common travels afterwards. And the guy was also quite interesting, because when I asked him very usual question, how do you earn your money? I received super unusual answer. He said, I'm building satellites. I'm like, what? So about 2 hours, he was telling about the principles, how the satellites are being made, what are the principles, where do you launch the rockets and stuff. So I learned a lot of information about subject I had no idea about. And when the evening ended, he said, but maybe you want to visit my work to see in life how it's being done. I said, sure, is it possible? He said, yeah. So a few days later, I went in Argentina to this facility which is making satellites, and I saw a satellite, I don't know, like 5 meters distance. So that's why I think this couchsurfing thing also is not only about saving money, it's mostly about connections and experiences you wouldn't get otherwise. And when I came home, I realized I really like having people at my place. So I invited other travelers to stay, and they were beautiful companies. They cooked for me dinner, and we had lots of fun together. So, and then I found out about Airbnb. Have you heard about Airbnb? The same couchsurfing, just for money. So I still host people, travelers and my friends for free, but I'm also renting out my house in Airbnb. So this became another source of income now already for 10 years. And it's not only about that. Latvians are quite crazy about going into the wild to pick mushrooms, berries, and some plants. I'm sure you're also doing that, at least some of you. And I'm really crazy about it. And this is something quite special. I never thought it before I started to travel, but it turns out that in the world, people don't recognize plants, mushrooms, berries. So I found out that in Airbnb, it's not only rental option, it also has a place for experiences. So I posted on Airbnb experiences mushroom tours. So I could go with people in a forest, do what I really love, and they would pay money for that. Isn't that cool? So, and another example is I really liked doing yoga. I practiced it for more than 10 years and learning. And then at some point in my life, I also started teaching yoga. I'm not doing it now, but it was another example how the passion would become a source of income. And then there I have some other passions which are not bringing money directly. Like I really enjoy growing food. But it doesn't give money, but it provides me with really healthy, good quality food, which I enjoy. And another hobby of mine is making things with hands, because in my profession, I was so used to work only with head, with brains. Then when I quit my office job, I discovered the joy of knitting, weaving, making things out of wood. So yeah, I think it gives different perspective to the world. And another thing I would really advise or suggest to try is a voluntary work. During my travels, sometimes I felt really tired of moving around all the time. So I would stop at some place for a week or two to help with different things. I was working in a hostel, in a farm, and this is mulching cucumbers in India. And yeah, it helps you to calm down, staying in one place, and it also gives you a new job expertise. And especially for you as youngsters, maybe it's not so easy for you to find first jobs, so voluntary work is an option. And also it's about giving back. I showed you this picture of hospital at the beginning, and once per week I'm trying to go with my colleagues from organization Hospice LV to the hospitals to give some treats to patients. Yeah, I would like to do it more often, but many things in life. And the last thing I would like to share you about is about my understanding of life when I finished secondary school. And I thought what to do after school. And I wanted to study journalism. So I applied in University of Latvia, but the competition was really high. I was quite sure I will not get there in. But I really didn't want it to waste another year of my life. So I also went to Medical Academy of Latvia and give my papers there. I was sure I'm gonna get there in because my school was specializing in chemistry and biology. Finally, I got submitted in both schools, and I thought, maybe I could study in both universities, which I did for 1 year. Next year, I found myself in situation still studying in those both universities, singing in a choir, being very active in student organizations, learning to drive a car, having active social life, and then someone offered me full-time job. And I said, yeah, why not? So where did it end up? In a mental hospital. Quite logical. So, and that's why I would like to show you this picture. Unfortunately, I don't remember the source. But at that point, I thought if I will miss 1 year of my life, it will be super bad. But nowadays, when I'm somewhere in the middle, I'm like, okay, 1 year less or more, it doesn't make such a big difference. So that's why I want to leave you with the thought that life is short, but it's still long enough to fill your years with really interesting experiences. So I want to encourage you to go out and experience the world and follow your passion, and money will follow afterwards. So thank you, and I'm ready for your questions.